Making people laugh when you're talking about serious topics is very hard to do, but that there is the art of being a comedian. One young Perth talent is catching the eye of audiences across Australia, and Tony ETC took some time to speak with him between tour dates.
Welcome everybody. Here we've got an astute comedian from Sierra Leone who grew up in Australia and is a well-known comedian here in Australia, and is interested in bringing his heart to the world to see. His name is Chief Takasi, and he's going to be giving us a bit of his biography.
Thank you. It's okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Jesse Bavuji Takasi Jr. I'm widely known as Chief Takasi. I started comedy in 2014 through skits and vines.
My friend, have you heard about the African Comedy Festival in Perth? In Perth? In Perth! It cannot be possible. Boy, it's happening in Perth on the 7th of November 2014.
I got onto the stage professionally in 2014 at the Face of South Sudan. That performance basically set the foundations to where I am at the moment.
Chinambo, what are you doing? Papa, I'm killing myself. I want to die. So you want to die, Abby? Wait for me. Okay, kill yourself. Papa! Papa, aren't you going to stop me? I'm only here to watch you die. Because when they ask me how you die, I'll be able to explain.
So what is the comedy industry like in Western Australia for you?
It's beautiful, but then again, it's somewhat challenging. I think everything we do basically is challenging. And I think breaking the gap through comedy for being African is something that I find very challenging, because there's not much of us doing. Like, performing at certain places was just too challenging, but as time goes, I pretty much adapted to it.
Can you crack a joke for us now?
Sure, I can tell you one of my favorite jokes. It's just a joke that I created and that I said. Instead of encouraging terrorism, I'm discouraging terrorism. About terrorism. So I asked the crowd, has anyone seen an African terrorist? And most people say, no, they haven't. And I tell them why they have not seen an African terrorist. So basically, if you want to be a prolific terrorist, you need to have three things. First of all, you should be on time. Secondly, you shouldn't be afraid to die. And thirdly, you shouldn't ask too many questions, and Africans will do all that. You know what I mean? Let's say, imagine this was an African event, and a terrorist saw this flyer. It says it starts at 7:30. And he sets his bomb at 7:45, expecting all the Africans to be in here at 7:45. His bomb will go off at 7:45. All the Africans, including the promoter, will come at 10:30. Like, what the heck happened here? Yeah, so basically it's just time difference.
Oh yeah, me, they call me Commander Rupert Stitskin. Me, I they beat people. I'm not the fair. I'm not afraid of anything. Just
Have you got any aspiration of going to Sierra Leone to encourage the comedians in Sierra Leone to keep working hard?
One of my favorite comedians that pretty much inspired me as a young child to do stand-up comedy is in Sierra Leone. He's known by the name called Sarah the Great. Comedy in Sierra Leone has really improved. Starting to watch comedy as a child, you know how those comedians dress with the ties, the chalks on their face, and I think people are literally moving away from that old school brand of comedy and they're doing the new school brand of comedy. I follow comedy a lot in Sierra Leone and it's improved, and I think in the near future I would like to go to Sierra Leone and encourage other comedians and work with other comedians there and do a show in Sierra Leone.
So what's your educational background like?
I recently graduated in international relations at Curtin University in my bachelor's, and I'm currently doing my master's in international relations.
We really appreciate you, and it's good having you with us. And I am Tony ETC, reporting for Undercurrent.
As Election Day promises continue to be made by Scott Morrison and Bill Shorten, in our Vox Pop for this week, Telha heads out to Perth to find out your thoughts on what kind of changes you'd like to see in the future of Australia.
Election in Australia are going to be held next month. So Bill Shorten and Scott Morrison are head-to-head next Monday on ABC News in Australia. Today we are going to ask the questions from the people about the next upcoming elections that are going to be held next month in Australia. So Scott Morrison and Bill Shorten are coming to Perth and they are giving interview into the news channel. So we are going to ask people what their party they are supporting and what they says about the party that they are like. Scott Morrison or Bill Shorten?
Scott Morrison, reluctantly.
Why?
I just think he'll be a better manager and he's not going to interfere with my superannuation arrangements.
Probably Scott Morrison.
Why?
I believe his migration policies are a bit better than the other party. However, it's hard to say.
Liberal.
Okay, Liberal Party. Okay, so what do you think the Liberal Party are bringing change in the society or for the immigrants?
Well, the Liberal Party was a good party, you know, for the working, they do a lot, you know, for the people.
I think Morrison will be good.
Why?
Because I think he's more of a guy who can communicate and then who can be the real leader. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the Liberal can make it more, you know, for the immigration to bring the people here, you know. And the Labour, I don't know much, you know, because the Labour doing things different.
You think that sending people to other cities like small towns is good? Because there are no so many opportunities. Migrants want opportunities. They are coming from their countries. They want opportunities. If they are not providing opportunities, then how they live there?
Well, it depends on what opportunities they're seeking. For example, small mining towns are a fantastic place to start. That's where I went. I find it very difficult to find work in construction, in mining, when you're in the city. So to head there, you get skilled up, you give it a go, but there needs to be more incentive.
Do you think they have bring many changes in the society also?
Oh, not really. Pretty much the same.
Okay, so when to whom you are giving the vote for next time?
Liberal.
From interview, we just heard from the people, they just support Scott Morrison. Talha Javed, Undercurrent, WTV, Perth.
Don't go too far away. We'll be back right after the break with more Perth stories here on Undercurrent.